Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. It's Friday. Anybody feeling us? Anybody feeling the vibe of weekend that is coming up? Not that it makes a difference for me because I'm mom of twins. But anyway, for those of you who love Fridays, today is the day. And I'm greeting you again and welcoming you at our second part of our Facebook live streaming, where we are going to be talking about time, and we are going to be giving you practical tips about how to save time, to make more time on things that are important to us or things that we really want to do, not have to do. So let's talk and let's share and let's banter in a moment. I believe Susanna is joining us, which I'm very happy because I felt quite lonely last week, not 2 weeks ago when we done the first part. So Zuzka, I'm sending you an invitation. And in the meantime, welcoming you all again and asking you where you're joining us from. We are joining from, well, I'm joining from Slovakia, and Zuzka is joining us from London. Welcome, Zuzi. Can you hear us?
Hi, thank you. Yes, I can hear you. Can you see me all right again?
We can see you perfectly. You're not like
I
that.
am.
Or like that.
I am again. I don't know what is
Wow,
wrong.
awesome.
Yeah. So anyway, as long as you can see me, okay, I'm gonna have to sort it out later. So it's fine. We'll carry on like this.
We can. So anyway, welcome everyone. Today we are going to be talking about how we can reclaim your time. And time, let's say, is precious. And the only fair thing about time is that all of us, we have the same amount of time, and it is 24 hours a day. And it's very interesting thing because, you know, sometimes time flies, sometimes time drags, and we all know it depending what we do. Right? If you are watching us from work, maybe your time is really dragging because you can't wait for that 5-6 p.m. when you are going home from work. Anyway, we are going to shortly start, and today is the second part of what I started 2 weeks ago. So if you want to watch our first part, I will put it in the comments. In case you watch from replay, you will have it there. In case you're watching live, which is now, which is 1 o'clock Slovak time, 12 o'clock UK time, send us in comments hashtag live. If you're watching us from replay, put us in comments, please, hashtag replay. And very briefly, we are going to introduce ourselves. So Ska, I'm going to give you word.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, I missed last time, but I did miss you. But it's gonna be nice when we pick up and carry on today together. So I quickly introduce myself. My name is Susanna Taylor. I'm a transformational coach, business coach, EFT practitioner, and I live in London. I help women to it's interesting every time I say it differently, but I help women to really be themselves, and from there to have the life and live the life and have the business that really feels and it is true to them, that feels good, so that when they are being themselves, and it doesn't mean when you are being yourself everything is nice and beautiful and positive. Life, you know, things happen. Our life is up and downs, and we're going to be talking about it today as well. Hence the time that we sometimes don't have time for things that we would like to do. But when you are true to yourself and you are present and being realistic about what is actually happening, and who are you and what you're doing here, then you know you can. It's much easier and it comes from the flow, kind of flow to deal with these up and downs and the challenges. So this is what I help women with as well. So that's it. That's I'm gonna introduce myself like this today. Next time it's gonna be differently, maybe.
Yes,
So,
thank you, Susie. Thank you. And do you know what? I love it because all these marketing tools are telling us to
yeah.
have a phrase to introduce certain
How
way, and we are supposed
can
to
you?
choose the perfect phrase and then repeat it over and over again. I disagree with it also. And actually, I do the same as you. I always introduce myself differently and I always do it in the moment, and it's perfect. Or at least I feel it's the most authentic way I can do so, rather than, you know, have a formula
Yeah.
which you know wouldn't feel fit me.
And exactly for what we do,
Yeah.
it's not just one thing, you
No.
know, it's more
No.
complex, isn't it? So it never really
Mhm.
resonated with me to introduce myself one way, and it has to cover everything I do. It's
Mm.
not.
It's not possible
It's not
even.
possible.
And I'm
No.
glad you bring it up, because every time I do this, I'm thinking the same thing, that, you know, I've done it differently again. And it's wonderful actually, because it's almost like every time we introduce ourselves, we discover ourselves newly in that moment again. And I'm going to introduce myself also. It's fun.
Yeah.
And you know, try it yourself, by the way, guys. How would you introduce yourself?
Yeah.
Who are you? You know, I don't know, Alicia, blah, blah, blah. And you know, what would you put first? You know, I'm mother of, you know, normally
It's
what I
exactly,
work
and
as
it's
a,
interesting, and maybe we should do one live on this,
uh,
because you know, also I find it quite challenging when people
mhm,
ask me what do you like doing, or what are your interests or hobbies. I have so many. I mean, and if I have to pick one,
mm,
okay, I really have to. I don't know if I could pick one that would be like up there. Yes, maybe helping people and
mhm, mhm.
motivate, and you know, but you know, there's so much that I love
Yeah.
uh, about what I do and about this life, and I would also like to do that. I can't really pick one.
Mm,
Do you find it hard as
yes.
well?
And
To
it's blessing in a way,
yeah,
because
yes,
is a lot that we are into, is a lot that excites us still, because, you know, kids get excited about, oh, because everything is new, but for adults we get a little bit, it's a little bit harder to get excited
yeah,
about things.
yeah,
But I
exactly.
do, I
So
do
please
as well.
introduce
Yeah.
yourself.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know me, my name is Lucia Hoxa. I am a fertility and relationship transformational coach, similar colleague of Zuzka. And today I would introduce myself as I'm someone who supports and help women to take responsibility for their lives. And, you know, to me, responsibility is how we respond to situations in life. And we all know that life brings all sorts of situations, all sorts of challenges, all sorts of, you know, chapters. We are in different chapters of life where things change, you know. Sometimes when we are thinking about the past, we are thinking, oh, that must have been someone else's life. But no, it was your life. It was just so different then that you barely remember who you've been. And so I do help women often through transitions, through these life chapters where things like almost like explode in the air, you know, and especially I, you know, help them to guide them through relationship challenges of all sorts of things, many partner relationship challenges and life challenges themselves, you know, decision making, that kind of thing. When, because sometimes in life we feel we are a little bit lost, and that can be very daunting and scary, you know. So I'm someone who is not going to give you answers, and coaches in general, we are not going to give you answers, but we are going to help you, or good coaches, therapists, guides, we are going to help you, guide you towards your core self, so you get so much more clarity in what to do next. And actually you experience also energy shift, where different kind of situations will start happening to you in your own life, to the degree where you start, and that's often the outcome of my programs, that people wonder, it's almost like magical, and that's not so much magic. Okay, it's a little bit magical, but it is because they shifted the frequency they vibrate on, and
Yeah.
it's simple as that. I can talk about it a lot, but today we are not talking about it. This is just a little bit introduction and what I do for you, and I still love what I do for you. And please keep on being here with us and for us, and reaching out to us, because that will keep us doing what we do and what we love the most. Okay, time. We're
Time,
going
yeah.
to talk about time. So Susie, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? What's your correlations? And write to us in the comments also, what's your correlations when you say time? That's the first thing that comes to your mind.
Well, what comes to my mind is the time. It's the time when I remember when I used to say, I don't have time for this. I don't have, there is not enough time in the day, but I don't have time for the things that I wanted to do, or the things that I was passionate about. It was it was when my son was little, and I was pregnant with the second with the second baby. Now my daughter, she's 7, and I really wanted to follow my passion. I really wanted to do something, but now I know. I thought I didn't have time, but what it was really, and then I found out or discovered later when I went deeper, with help as well, that it was actually me not looking at it with the eyes, with the eyes in the present, and thinking, okay, we all have same amount of time. I felt like I want to achieve something, but I thought I couldn't because I had a baby and another one on the way, and it was in my mindset, it was in me. I was stopping myself. I was stopping myself from doing it, from thinking I don't have time, and the time was actually just the cover up for my excuse. I would say it was an excuse. So when I started looking at the time, that what do I do every day, how many hours do I have, what actually I do, I realized, well, it's not really time. Of course, I can organize the time, and there can be the time, I can make the time more effective and do things more effectively, or leave something out to give me that time that I can do what I love doing. But really, the reason for me was not seeing it, and not maybe being restricted by my mind, that because I have children, because I have so much to do, I can't follow my passion. So it was my mindset. It was that. So this is what comes to me, and this is what's for me. So there, to me, is always, you can make time for things that you really want to do. And yes, the first step is to look at your time, is to how you managing your time, what you're doing with the time you have. But if you're doing everything and still think that you don't have time to do the things that you'd like to do, there's something maybe deeper behind it.
I'm so glad you mentioned it, because it is, I mean, Jesus, like most of the things that we suffer for in life, I would say, is our mindset, the way we think about it, or is the story we created in our heads, and none of that is real.
Yes. Yeah.
Crazy, huh?
Yeah.
When you think about it. So I'm glad you mentioned that, and I really enjoyed listening to, because you've been really talking about your transformation, the way you used to think about time and now you think about time, and I had something similar. What really helped me, because I've been also the lady in the past, the lady, I have no time, you know, in my mind it was constant conversation, not enough time, there's not enough time, I have not enough time, I have not enough time, I have not enough time. That was my conversation. That was my mantra, subconscious mantra.
Yeah.
And that was before I was a mother. Crazy. Yeah, but the reality and how what helped me also was to deeply realize I do have a time, just like you said, but for me, I realized that I do have a time, but maybe things I don't do are just not a priority for me right now. And that's true, actually. Just notice that things that you dedicate your time, either consciously or subconsciously, throughout the day, are because you put some kind of importance to them.
Yeah.
So it's not that you don't have a time. And I shifted this conversation, so I don't no longer say I don't have a time. I, even inside or on the outside, I say it's not a priority to me right now. Yeah. So when I say no to something, or when I say maybe not even no, but I just don't do it now, I do it, you know, next day or later or next week. And I, trust me, I'm still in a process of scheduling, rescheduling, because it's very dynamic, my life, and especially with kids and things changing. And I'm still learning and progressing. I'm constantly in a conversation how to make it smoother, easier, more fluid, you know, simplifying my life, trying to simplify my life nonstop in order to create more value, more joy, more spontaneity, more, I don't know, rest. But yeah, it makes a lot of difference, because I no longer have a conversation I don't have time, but my new conversation is, and it gives me peace of mind actually when I say it's not my priority right now.
Exactly. It's true. And I realized as well that, not realized, but since then I don't say I don't have time, because I know that I can make time for what I want to, what I want, for what I want, what is my priority, exactly what you said. So, you know, I have so many things I need to do or I could be doing, but I made this time priority. You know, we all do. Because I want to be here and I want to do it. And so it gives, you know, so I make time for it, even though I could be doing lots of other things. So we all have these choices, and really go back to what you really want and what is your priority right now, or what is your priority on the whole as well. You know, we have to have priorities in life as a whole, what we are and who we are and what we love doing and what makes us happy. And then, you know, that's your bigger one. And then according to, it's always there somewhere, at least for me. And then according to that, you can make decisions every day on choices. We all have choices, whether to go there or do this rather than that. So it's about that. And it's now in me that I don't say, okay, I don't have time. I don't have time. Well, I have time for things I want to do.
It's a choice. And do you know what, like, it's wonderful. Two things, hopefully it won't slip, but two things I wanted to say is that example, right? And this is the example of the, if someone, you know, for example, if you are working, overworking, doing overtimes, and your main priority is a, you know, value is a family, then it doesn't work, does it? Then something is off. Then no wonder you feel drained, maybe, you know, burned out and crap about your life. Because, you know, if you are constantly feeling guilty that you are not putting attention to your kids but spending time at work, then it doesn't sit. So there's one example. Or another example from the different case is when there was I think it was a Saturday morning. Yeah, it was, no, it must have been work week. It doesn't matter, but it was a few months ago. I was at home with kids, they weren't well, and I was in this situation where there was lots of things to do, and I was just thinking, okay, what shall I give a priority right now? Like literally one thing after another, like what is the most important, right? What I do. And in the middle of that decision, I received a phone call from my dad who was in severe pain. So I had to drop everything, find a way who, is going to be with children very quickly, and then drive to my dad, taking him to an emergency and deal with that, because suddenly over all these other priorities, this became priority number one.
Yeah.
And it might be extreme, but sometimes life work like this.
Yeah.
And and I can either go and be frustrated about it for most of my day, the things are changing and I have to drop and rethink and reschedule and
Yeah.
give up my plans and God knows what else. Change the clothes and
Yeah.
explain to kids. It's very complex, right?
It
But
is.
so I can either be frustrated and grumpy and tired and moan and whinge and be angry about it all, or I just surrender and I'm like swimming with it.
Yeah, but you
So
see,
that's
Lucy,
also
that's
fine.
really beautiful example because, like your priority and your most valued thing is family.
Yeah.
So, like I said, it's up there. And even though, it mixed up your plans and things, but you still went with that priority. You still
Yes.
went with the priority
Yes.
and went to see your dad and be there for your dad because that is your priority.
Yes. Yes.
That is your value, that is within you.
That's
And isn't that beautiful? Okay, it's
yeah.
frustrating. Okay, we had to juggle things. This is what I'm saying. Life is not, it doesn't mean that if we try to be organized and manage our time, everything is going to go smoothly and everything is beautiful.
Mm.
No, life will throw things like this, but you still went for that priority, which is for that value that is of yours, big value, which is family.
Mm.
And I'm sure it made you feel good,
Yes.
even though because you were there.
Yes.
So
Yes. And this is why I'm such a big ambassador of what we do and personal development in general, because it is ultimately giving us more and our clients more awareness about who they are, about what they say, more conscious opportunity for more conscious choices in life. Yes, because without it, you're just like a little boat on this big sea and it's throwing you from side to side and you don't even know what's going on. And it's very common that people get confused and, life is messy. Life is messy anyway, but without us being aware and really, aware of who we are, where we stand, what our choices, what our priorities, what our strengths, what our weaknesses, awareness of ourselves is making this so much easier to respond to that life. What I said at the beginning, to take responsibility and creating and co-creating the lives we really want to live inside the circumstances that life throws at us.
exactly. And and like exactly like 2 weeks ago, we had this life planned and I had family bereavement suddenly. And I could have gone live. I could have gone live, but I really felt like I need to be with the family. We need to be in contact. It happened in Slovakia, so I wanted to be available and in contact with the family. I wanted to make sure that my children know what's going on and I'm there for them. And that was my decision, and I cancelled, I apologized, and you took it well, and then that's it, life goes on, and sometimes in these examples or things that happen, people do make a decision and they go for it, but then they feel guilty, then there is guilt as well. Well, and that's heavy as well. Once you decide, you've done it, you decided, there's no guilt. Yes, we are people, and we can feel guilty, but work with that then, you know, why do I feel guilty
That's
about
coming
things,
from.
you know? So yeah.
Yes.
uh,
So we drifted off a little bit, but only seemingly, because it's all connected with
yeah.
time, believe it or not. But now we are going to give you your promised 10 of things like practical. I mean, we've been talking about time with Zuzka up till now in kind of like general kind of level, perception of time and so on, mindset. And now we are going to give you actually practical 10 tips. And please keep on sharing yours, because
Yeah.
if you have anything that is going to save my time and simplify my life, I'm taking it, borrowing it, stealing it. Please, let's steal from each other and let's share, because that way we can learn something useful. And
Exactly.
I love to learn. So let me know what saves your time. Okay. What and remember, whatever we are talking about, whatever options we give here or tips, it is really what works for you, not for your neighbor, not for your friend. It can be completely different. That's why you can't read it in a magazine, and that's why we are sharing it live, because you know we can also have opportunities to not only share with you, you know, what you can read in an article, but give you our own insights about authentically whether it works for us or not, or whether it made difference. And number one, Susie, you can start actually.
Number one is keep your list to 3.
Yeah.
So this is when you have to-do list, and we know the to-do list can be long, never ending. And this one is this one is actually a good one. Keep your list to 3. So have 3 tasks that you want to complete in the day. And that's it really. And for me, it's, do you know what I do most of the time? I was the one who had lots of, you know, I had to-do list and lots of tasks, and I have to do this, 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 this. But now, believe me or not, I have one task or 2 tasks that I have to do. And if I complete that, then that's it. I'm very happy. And most of the time, I complete that task. And if and also, there's not just that I do just that one, of course, because you know, I have kids, so I have to do lots of other little tasks, but I don't have to write those down because I just do them. So if I just complete that one, then that's it. For example, this today or every other task, you know, every other day, I have client calls, so I know that's like, okay, it's a call, but apart from that, what do I want to complete? And I only have one. And if I complete it, then I'll do it. For example, I was writing a guidebook, so I had like, okay, today I'm gonna finish this page. And then I finished it fine, I completed it. Most of the time I do more than just one, you know? So it's really interesting how you can streamline it down to one, but you actually do more, but that's out of choice. Or it's like, if you're giving yourself that space, that if you're not feeling well or if something comes up, you don't have lots of other things to do still. You completed that one, and you can be like, okay, I feel good because I've done that one. That's it.
Like when I was doing my group program, it was year one, if you remember.
Sorry.
Or half year one, I can't remember. Year one, I think. We used to do actually that thing, right? Like 3 things in a week, like what we used to do at the end of the week where we celebrate, and at the beginning of week it was like actually 3 a week, like 3 we want to achieve in a week. Because sometimes, you know, like at the moment I'm, for example, renewing UK passports for my kids, and that's like a big task. You know, that is taking me now, I think, 6 weeks since I started this application, because you've got the different things to wait for. It's not possible to do in, you know, it's not unfortunately straightforward like Slovak passports. So some tasks are like this, but you know, these big tasks you can chop to smaller, you know, pieces. But I really like this one.
Yeah, me too.
Because if you guys, you know, this, if in case you joined, we are talking about keeping your list to 3 a day. 3 tasks a day. And girls, if you're anything like me, I can hear your mind going, but what do you mean? I've got like a million things I do
Yes.
every day.
Yeah.
And that would be my response to this. But like Zuzka said, of course we do. Of course we unload the dishwasher, do the Hoover, in between
Cook.
we cook,
Yeah.
reply on message, pick up the delivery, Of course we are women, okay? And as a women, we are super multitasking heroes.
But is
So
this one important one that you really want
mm,
to, that is going to move you a little bit forward,
yes,
not the
yes,
daily task that you're doing.
yes. It's not the daily task. We are talking. Zuzka's got 1, some people's got a 3. I've got
Yeah.
like 3 a week. You don't have to have a day. You do it whatever works for you. But I like this because, if we have what I used to have is like, I used to have it other way around, girls. Hands up if anybody's got it that way. But I used to have it like, oh my God, maybe 20 things a day. And I used to have it like, whatever I get time to do, I tick off the box, the rest I move to next
Mm.
day. You with me?
Yeah.
But what I realized is that it was making me, it was basically, I was keep on setting myself up for failure every day. And
Yeah.
every day with that kind of strategy, I was falling asleep thinking, okay, I've done 3, but there is still 17 I haven't done, and 17 was more than 3. So I was never proud about 3 I did. I was
Yeah.
always thinking, oh God, I had to move yet again 17 to next day.
Mm.
So it's also like scheduling your time in such a way that at the end of the day, like Zuzka said, you feel like you won. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Makes
It's
sense.
more
I
powerful
was like
for you.
you. I had lots of tasks, and then I was like, yes, I'm a superwoman. I can do this,
Oh,
even and if I don't, yes, I move them. But then when I moved them, then the next day I had even more than I had the previous day.
mm,
And it's like you really setting yourself up for failure, and it's like in the long run you can never finish and you can never catch up with your task because
no,
they're always growing.
yes,
And it's like, yeah, in a small uh scale of time it works because, like, yes, I did 7 today, for example, but you can't sustain it for a long time.
no.
You're running for burnout, and plus you don't have time for anything else, just doing the tasks. So yeah,
Ticking the
ticking
boxes.
the boxes.
I know.
Yeah, all right.
I've been there. Okay, good. Let us know whether it makes sense, whether it resonates. Number 2, we're going to move
Mm.
swiftly. Yeah, go on,
So
Susan.
number 2 is do your biggest rock first. Uh, this is the actually similar one to the one eat that frog. So basically, is the one that is the most important task for you. So you
Mm,
have tasks, and then which one is the most important one or the most scariest one
yeah,
that you might probably put away because it's hard, because it's
yeah,
going to be the hardest one,
yeah,
because or it's probably even challenging because with
yeah,
mindset or something. So do that biggest rock first, eat that frog first,
yeah.
and that's it.
It's
That's,
something you like to avoid because
yeah,
you know
exactly.
yourself. It is that thing that you always, and maybe even that thing that you always promised yourself you will do every day, but you always like, from tomorrow.
Yeah.
So maybe it's, like if it's exercise, for example, then do it like first thing in the morning. It's very powerful because
Mm.
if you do that thing, that ugly frog we call it, right?
Yeah.
Ugly fetish, blah, like frog. If
Yeah.
you eat that one first, then rest of the day is going to be easy peasy, right? Because you done that ugly thing right first. It's very empowering, and you are again setting yourself up to win because already you won by sometimes
Yeah.
6, 7 o'clock in the morning.
And what happens is, because in the back of your mind, you know that ugly frog is there and it's going to be there tomorrow and it's
Yes,
going to be there the day
good point.
after. It's going to be there the day after. And all
It's
you're
like,
doing is, yeah,
oh.
all you're doing is avoiding it and doing the little tasks and thinking, oh, yes, I've done 7,
Yeah,
but the ugly big
but
frog is still
the
there.
big frog is doing,
Yeah,
oh.
he's doing that. So, yes, so
Yeah,
that's the whole point of this
good
one.
point. Yeah. Okay, number 3, delegate. Yeah. So with this one, again, you know, it's self-explanatory, right? If you have a chance to delegate, now we can be talking about work environment, we can be talking about household. It's very simple, delegate. But many times when I say this to my clients, they say, but I have nobody to delegate this to. You know, I don't have a structure for that. I don't have a system, whether at work or at home. You know, my husband is away, or, you know, or he you know, often I hear he wouldn't do it as well as I can.
Yeah, I think that's the most common one.
It is it's many times, and I want to pick point because I'm not going to talk about delegation. That's, you know, everybody understands what it means. But I want you to consider, guys, that many times what is really stopping us from delegating is a habitual thing. We are so used to do it ourselves that it didn't even cross our minds that someone else can do it equally better, maybe even better.
Even better, yeah.
Even better. Like when I hired Erin, our assistant, in 2016, it's the best thing I ever done. Erin, in case you're watching. You know, so that's one thing. Second thing is that we are so thinking nobody else can do it better that we actually don't trust other people for many reasons. But once we let go and at least try, we might be surprised. So I want to challenge you in that. Another thing is that maybe in terms of partnership with your partner, that's also very common women do, is that their husbands or partners are so, or family, even broader family, are so used to them doing that thing that is expected. And because it's expected, they are too scared to change anything about it because they would look like they are, you know, they're bad, you know, like when someone is expecting from you something all the time, then if you say no, then it's like, oh my God, the world is going to collapse. You know, but it's about retraining those relationships and you know, trying, reframing. Even our kids, we have to, you know, I'm already, my kids are 4.5, but I'm already starting teaching them independence, you know, helping mommy. I'm in a situation where I no longer is going to mommy. My world exploded. I can't even tell you guys. It's been 3 weeks and I'm like, you know, but this is another level that I have to adjust and get used to. And the way I'm using it positively is to explain to my kids, mommy, you know, needs your help. So they are now putting away their clothes and little things, you know, they are doing. And I'm, you know, delegating whatever I can. Of course, you know, it's little, but I'm always kind of, and third thing is always be creative. And for that, you have to be present enough in the moment to be able to create a new ways how you can delegate. If there is anything I can delegate or ask for help or anything little, like for example, to be able to do this live streaming, I had to run to the hospital, pick up the medication for my dad, and then run back to my dad's old people's home. And you know, normally I give it to nurses, but I would have to go to different building upstairs, and to make it on time here today, I had to create a way and ask receptionists to, you know, do this for me, otherwise I wouldn't make it on time. So it's a little examples of little favors, little things that don't hesitate to ask people. People are often, you know, happy to help actually. I am, you know, when someone asks me something, I'm, you know, because it's a reward for people who are helping us as well, because they feel sense of being useful and appreciation then from us. So yeah, very important delegation. Anything to add, Susie? What is coming to you?
No, I mean that's a nice example. And it goes back again into this. Like I like the way you said what did you say? You said you create it, and it is, because we're so stuck in our ways, and because it's easier. Sometimes it's easier to do something that we used to be doing it, like in the routine, and just even to ask someone or thinking or the thought of someone doing it, that you would have to explain it to them, and it wouldn't be done the same way. And but who knows, like you said, it might
Who
be even
knows?
better.
And
And
also, mhm.
yeah,
Sorry, Susie.
so being creative and being open-minded and saying, okay, well, I'm just going to play with this and see what happens, because like you said, I want to do this live, and I'm going to see whether, ask someone whether can help me with this. It saves me 10-15 minutes so that I can do this thing that I really want to do.
Yeah, and I'm committed to do
And
sometimes,
you're committed to do it, yeah.
And often, and this is what I'm learning still as well, because you know how we judge ourselves, judge others the way we judge ourselves, or according to how we have it, we think everybody else got it, good and bad. And because I'm so busy, I'm always automatically think everybody else is also busy. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that I don't, sometimes I've got this thing, I don't want to bother them. Like they've got their own life, they've got the kids, da 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 da. And it's a nice example because I've got a neighbor, and I needed for these passports like one kind of specific form from a policeman or someone like that, and I've got a policeman next door, very nice one, police chief. There's my neighbors, and so I sent her a message on Facebook, like whether they can do, and she didn't reply, she didn't respond. So I made a conclusion, she's too busy, okay, I find someone else. And then someone else done it for me. But then she said, oh, sorry, I didn't reply, but we can do it for you. And I said, oh, sorry, I thought you are busy. So that's why I didn't call you. And she said, no, you should have called, like, you feel free to call anytime with things like this or anything else. So what example, I'm still learning also, because it was so easy just to pick up the phone and say, hey, can you do this for me? I mean, I'm not asking for a miracle. I'm not asking for half hour of their time. It will be like 5 minutes or something. But sometimes, if you're anything like me a little bit, maybe you're not, but sometimes we think that we are asking people for big favors, but actually they're so pleased and so happy to help. At least, at the end, the teacher from kindergarten helped us. It was completely fine. She done it with such a velocity. And I brought her flowers. I'm like, no, nothing. There was nothing. Please don't. I was like, okay, I'm going to accept this flower because, gifts shouldn't be refused. But, it was nothing. But you know what I mean? With this example, I'm saying we often make such a big deal of asking people for help, but actually turn it around. How happy you would be to help someone like this.
Exactly.
It's like 5 minutes of your time. And for me, it meant so much that she helped me, because I can move forward and tick the big box on my passport, bloody
and I
application.
also think about what could be the worst that can happen. People just say,
they say
I'm
no.
sorry, I can't do it. I'm sorry, I can't do it. So say, okay, fine, I'll ask someone else. Thank you very much anyway.
Yes. But the thing is, we are so scared of rejection. Most of the time. But it's not about people, it's actually about us, isn't it? But I'm learning as well, guys, so don't worry about that. Okay,
next
number 4.
So number 4, cut out distractions. And this is a good one. I like this one because we're distracted all the time, as you know, everything, notifications, you just come outside and everything is on you, calling you, needs your attention. Cut out distractions. So if you have a task and you want to do it, cut out distractions, which is your mobile phones. What I do is
Yeah,
Just
I
the
won't add
distractions.
anything else. For me, my biggest distractions are, yeah, notifications on a phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very true. And yeah, also when I'm doing something that I'm creating or I'm writing article, or I don't know, preparing the program, yeah, you need to be in the moment, because it's that creative time. And yeah, I also get in a zone, and I'm like inside the zone, and I
Yeah.
like that space, and I can't imagine doing it, checking the phone at the same. It's actually impossible for me.
I,
I
I know
wouldn't do anything.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's so, again, when you are distracted, I know because I've been writing this guidebook, and I work from home, and my husband works from home. So and sometimes it happens that when I'm like focusing and in the zone and creating, he comes in and he's asking me something. And then I was like, okay, well, then I just get distracted, go with him or answer to him. And then it's really hard to bring yourself back to, do you have to really go back to the zone, go through it and go. So it takes
It's
longer.
a time waster.
It's a
It
time
really is.
waster.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
we learn, so we know, okay, I'd close my door and say, I'm doing this. I'm gonna do it for an hour or 2 hours. Please, don't disturb me until I'm done.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And also another distraction is, do you get distracted from clutter around you? Like
Yes.
I have to have my desk has to be clear, and
Yes,
before I start
totally.
to do anything, I have to
Yeah.
clear at least my desk around me, and then
Yes.
I can start.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, I'm with you. Next one is disconnect. That's connected with this one. Connect, disconnect
Connect.
is connected with that one. So yeah, like if you can't go offline, like Zuzka's got a little kids, meet me also, find another way how you can just put it away and just hear the vibration or something in case of emergency. Number 6, very similar, outsource. So if you can't delegate, see if you can outsource. Like there is things that you can outsource these days you wouldn't even believe that what everything can people help you with, and for not that much money. Like there is outsource to India, to Thailand, to people who can actually for very like few dollars do wonders work-wise for you. And
Yeah.
even like nannies and au pairs and household chores. It was a big one for me to revelation that, oh my god, like if you just imagine, like if you don't have to do any more. Oh, I wouldn't say anymore because it's not possible, I think, but
Yeah.
at least the major things, like if someone comes, and at the moment I'm trying to set this up, this new I have no longer nanny and cleaner, but I'm at least trying to find out a way how I can manage it with having a cleaner at least like once or twice a week, to do the major things, because then it's easier to do the household chores, the little things, you know what I mean, like big hoover, big, I don't know, dusting, or
Yeah.
yeah, things that you wouldn't normally have a time for, like wash the windows or clean the bathroom, is never a priority. You just do
Yeah.
after and it's done. Yeah, so out think about creative ways how you can outsource. Number 7, Susie, sorry, anything to add? I just ran
No,
through
that would be
it.
just another example, but I think yes. So number 7, make use of your mornings.
Mornings are good times.
Mornings are good times, yeah. It's how, I don't know, tell me guys, when you think about how you feel in the morning, yes, sometimes we might feel tired, or it depends also on the season where we are. In winter, it's probably harder to get up in the morning because it's dark.
I
But
love
now,
it.
yeah,
I love
exactly.
it. I'm the weird one. I love the waking up at dark in winter.
There
I
you
love it
go.
because
You see?
it's so
So,
quiet. I can concentrate. It's wonderful. Yeah, I am
yes,
actually more focused.
you are.
Than,
And I know you wake up very early.
Mhm.
So there you go. We are different in this. So we all just find that spot when you can actually use. But anyway, I'm most productive in the morning, because even if I feel like in the morning tired because it's winter, and I don't get up very early because it's dark. I like to be, nice and cozy in bed. And plus, I'm glad because I've got my children are growing, so I don't have to wake up that early anymore. So I use it, so that then later I can, when they go to school, I know I'm most productive. I've got energy. I'm enthusiastic, and I get most done in the morning, uh, which is anything creative or whatever, is most of that time. So I eat that frog, and I'm likely to eat that frog in the morning because I have that energy, and I
Same.
have that, yeah. So I do that, and then if anything is left for the afternoon for me is more, I watch my energy as well more because I've done so much in the morning and I'm happy. I pick up the kids from school, and if I don't do like anything that from my task in the afternoon, it's
It's
fine
fine.
because I know, yeah,
Yeah.
because I know there is children that they need to go to
Mm.
classes and things like that. So I'm still doing
Mm.
things, but
Yes.
those important things are done in the morning.
It's
The ones that are for me, that make me happy,
uh-huh.
that are important to me, and that also the ones that need to be done because you need peace and
Yeah.
quiet to have them done, like your passport, isn't it?
And it
So
makes you feel accomplished,
yeah,
like it's good to listen to because I've got it exactly the same.
yeah.
Sometimes,
Sorry, I've
Susie,
got
I
runny
used to.
nose, so sorry about that.
Okay. Sometimes I think about you actually, Susie, like now you've got older kids. My kids are still smaller. I never had a chance to have this conversation with you, so it's good that we are talking this way.
Yeah,
But sometimes I imagine how is your day now? The kids are at school, like how do you structure your day? And now I'm listening to it, and I was like, oh my god, it's very similar to mine,
yeah.
and very similar. Yeah, everything what you said, I've got the same. So let us know how whether you got it similar, or whether you. I mean, there are people who work till late night and they feel the most productive at night, and I totally get it. That's my husband. That's
Exactly.
normally we are opposites, which works really well when kids been very very little, because when he's been at home, because I was wake up early and he was staying up late with them, or putting them to sleep, or waking up at every 3 hours or whatever. So it works when we are different sometimes, actually
Yeah, it's
complements
good
each other.
you say that because my husband works in the evening as well.
Mm,
When the kids go to bed,
yeah,
yeah, it's my time that I just switch off and relax,
yeah,
switch
I
my phone
couldn't.
off, and he is there. He's
Yeah,
doing his work
yeah,
because it's his quiet time,
yeah,
and he does it, and it doesn't affect him. So,
yeah.
find time that is where you are, where you've got the most energy, when you
Mm,
are the most productive, and use it. Um, I was gonna
yeah.
say something about, yes, but there was time when for example, and it's interesting because my children were younger and I used to get up in the morning, and because they were young, so I wanted to get that time for myself.
Uh,
I used to get up
yes.
very early in the summer in the morning. I think it was about 5 o'clock, yeah, 5 o'clock, and do yoga that early in the morning so that I can make that time and have that time to myself. That those that half an hour, yeah, it was half an hour to do yoga, to meditate, to
But
have
But
time
it
to rest.
worked for you at the
It
time,
worked
right?
for me at that time. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. I also like,
And it makes
I,
you realize
yeah.
that you can actually do it. That makes you realize you can get that time if you really dedicate
If
it
you
and you
really
want to.
want, yeah, yeah. I mean, not always and not every day, but sometimes I wake up, Susie, I send you messages sometimes 3 a.m.
Yeah.
and that's kind of normal for me. But then I compensate for it somehow else. Then I've got days where I, have a little nap during the day, or,
Yeah.
I'm not, it's like about balancing it out. But if it works for me at the moment, yeah, like in some ways it works. I'm aware that I can't do it constantly. I can't do it, I can't live like this every day, right? Of course. But then I go to bed, like really early. I sleep with kids, 8, 9 o'clock. And also, just like you, I'm not able to create anything meaningful after 6, 7. Maybe you saw me yawning just a moment ago, a little bit. So, I mean, it is normal,
Yeah.
right? If you wake up that early, because even like preparing this lives for you, we actually do think about what we are going to talk about. We don't just rant, it just looks like that, but we actually do some work behind it. Okay.
And sorry,
Number,
one more thing I
yeah.
wanted to add is to make time to rest, because that is important. That is important time. It's not about how many things you tick off the list or whether you accomplish it. You actually gain time or do more when you are well rested, when you are nourished well, when you've had enough water. So make time to rest. Like, even we're talking about some people work in the evening, and yes, is okay. That's when they work and when they are creative, maybe. But then they need that exact time to, like, 8, 9 hours to rest, so that
Yes.
our body can rest, our mind can rest,
Yeah.
so that is also important, because you can't really do anything if you're tired and burnt out and not rested well.
Or it's going
So
to be a waste of time anyway, because it's
yeah.
going to take so much time, because you're going to be slow. And what I found for myself as well, you're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
So actually you then have to come back to it and repair it, maybe do it again. So you're going to waste your time anyway. When you are tired, exhausted, blah, 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 you're not going to make up any time. You're going to waste time, and you're going to be even more tired. But what works for me actually is these days more than ever before, I'm so much more aware of my body. It's like going back to my body, is like coming back to now.
Yeah.
And being more present to, okay, how do I actually feel right now? And sometimes, in the evenings, after I've got a moment, basically pretty much every day, when just because I do the most important things in the morning, like Susanna, I've got a moment when I say, okay, this is literally, my body gives me a signal. I was like, that's it, it's time to switch off. It's time to, and it can, like, and I do it even if my dishes are, they're dirty. I give myself the permission to do that, compared to the past, when I would still scrub the dishes because, I
Because
want
you
to
have
have.
to do it, and because it's got to be done.
No, I learned to really let go. I mean, that's that another level that you can get as a mother. And I, it's always done in the morning, and it's no problem.
Yeah.
But I give myself permission, because I listen to my body more these days, and I'm tuned to my body, and it actually, my body thanked me for that. Because frankly, being alone with these little energetic balls, I don't even know how I would make it. Staying sane and being alone with them, energetically. So this is, for those of you who are asking how the hell I do all this, this is how I do it. I keep on learning. I keep on creating, recreating, planning, changing, swimming with it, and being in tune and in connection with myself, or deepening it, and listening and paying attention, balancing it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So next one is the golden right after work time.
That's a good one.
It's a good one, yeah. So other than in the morning, find time in the evening. So like I said, for me, evening is like slowing down, uh, even, you know, with the children, because we know the kids can be, they've got so much energy, they can go, they can carry on going
Non-stop.
non-stop. But in the evening, you know, it's about slowing down, quieting down, for me anyway. And they copy it, and even with them say, okay, it's evening now, we need a little bit of calm time, so you know, do something calmer like reading or doing things like, you know, that
Slow
slows them
them
down.
down. Slow yourself down.
Yeah, slow yourself down, slow them down, and it's so that
Bath.
they get used to it. Bath, yeah, so that they get used to it. And now they're older, I think it's kind of paying off because,
Is it?
sorry, my voice is going, because they understand what it means
Of
and
course.
how it feels. If
Good.
so, yeah. So, is that what we wanted to say in this one?
No, you skipped one, but it doesn't matter. It's perfect. You're talking about evenings. That's
Yeah.
fine. Really glad you said that. I'm really glad it's paying off because we've got also a little evening routine and it works for us beautifully with our kids, and I'm glad it's paying off. That's my future.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, we've been talking about the goal. So we've been
Oh,
talking about
yeah, sorry, I
evenings
skipped
and
it.
the golden right after work time. I will just very quickly, because we are running
Yeah.
out of time, but very quickly say this golden right after work time used to work for me beautifully when I used to have an office job.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember
Yeah.
many years in England when I used to be an office girl, an EAPA, whatever, in a city. I used to use this time very efficiently because we used to have this nice little gym next to our workplace most of the time. And I went from work straight to gym, shower, home. And then I was
Yeah.
done, you know, or before work, but most of the time after work. I I must admit, I wouldn't do it now. I wouldn't have energy levels, but at that time it used to work for me, you know,
Yeah.
like because it was like on my way to the tube station, and
Yeah.
then I came home and I
Yeah.
just relaxed because I'd done my
So
exercise,
let
and
us
it
know,
worked.
guys, if you have anything like this, like Lutzka said, if you have anything like this, that you the golden right after work time, if there's anything you do straight after work, um, yeah, yes, meeting friends is probably the most common one here in UK, like
Oh yeah,
Friday after meeting friends
I'm going for
after work.
point. I
Yeah,
still remember that.
yeah, yeah. But you did it well. You went to the gym. Great.
Happy Thursdays. Okay, last one, lunch breaks. Um, I remember when I was studying to become a coach, it's been 3 years, and I was studying like literally 4 in the morning because I had a full-time job at the time. I was studying before probably 4 to 5:30. Then I done my exercise, then I done my morning whatever. Then I went to work. Then at lunchtime, I went to church nearby, believe it or not, and because it was the only quiet place in central
Mm,
London. So I used to do my studies in a church. Yeah,
nice.
all the books I read, all the essays, I was, everything to
Oh,
do with
it's
coaching for 3 years. 3 years, I every lunch break, and then after work, during my studies, because we had a practical, I was then coaching every evening. So evening it was like practical coaching things with my clients. Lunchtime it was theory, and morning it was emails and stuff like that, and another theory. So
That's lovely, Lucy. I like
lunchtimes.
that.
Hmm.
I like that. Really nice. And what a lovely place
Yeah,
to do your work, isn't it? In the peace and quiet and spiritual
it
place.
was, and there
Lovely.
was no one
Yeah.
there. Can you imagine, middle of London, nobody, it didn't cross nobody, and it was journalist church. If anybody knows it, at Blackfriars, one
Mm-hmm.
day I will go and see. It was beautiful church, and I
Nice.
spent such a nice. So actually, and it was like just like you say, it was a very quiet place. It was like little candle stall there. I used to
Really
love
nice.
it.
So what I do in lunch breaks, and I do it naturally, but when I read this, like, okay, this is what I do. So, like I said, in the morning I have that frog in the morning for breakfast, and then about lunchtime I'm very like I really have to have lunch. I can't go past lunch, otherwise I get I get really
Lunchtime, I
irritated
really
and
have to have
uh,
lunch.
yeah, I'm running out of energy, and so okay, so
Yeah.
I have lunch, and then after lunch I have my it's my time, it's my break, so I meditate or you do breathing exercises. That's my meditation time because then after lunch I can do some other task or some because I work from home and then I pick up the kids and then that's it. I can't meditate. So this time
Or you
lunch
can, but it's much more
is
challenging.
challenging. Yeah, I'm up for the challenge, but not always. So lunch break is a good time for me to just okay, and also it gives I give myself time to digest a little bit, not to do work straight away, and I allow myself to take that time. Okay, I'm gonna have lunch and meditate, and that's it. It's done for that day. So yeah, it works so far.
Let us know about your lunch breaks. I used to also, the way I used to use my lunch breaks when I was working Weybridge, that was outside of London. We used to have the little space outside. I used to do yoga, just take a yoga mat outside and do yoga, and then eat on a bench. Oh, there was also another lunch breaks because when I also when I was studying, then when I was working somewhere else, we used to have these royal gardens outside my workspace, and I everybody was laughing at me. I used to take my flower for lunch, and what was it? We used to have like packed salad lunch. In London you have those salad boxes,
Yes.
and I used to take my flower because on a bench outside and take it and eat my lunch and read a book, because it had not in the office. It had never enough light,
Daylight.
like this daylight. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So because I wasn't next to window, it was all artificial.
Yeah.
So I used to take my flower for lunch with
Flower.
me.
What flower?
Flower, flower in a pot,
Oh,
like
really?
flower, but real one.
Oh my goodness.
This
Why
is
did you do that? Why did you do the flower and just to make it nice?
I always used to have create a nice environment, how we've been talking
Yeah.
about, like at my
Yeah.
desk, and I always used to have flowers there. So every day I
Okay.
took different flower for lunch.
Oh, so.
Oh, there is a
Oh,
lot of weird things
yeah.
about me, guys. Those who used to know me those times, like 25 years ago, you probably laugh. You see, I would even forget about it if we don't talk
Yeah.
about lunch breaks. But anyway, we are so running out of time. Susie, thank you for this extra time as well. Guys, let us know about time, about what resonated with you, what didn't, what you tried and didn't work, and what we didn't try and it worked for you.
Yeah.
That's what we are interested in.
Yeah.
Share with us. Let us know if you have any tips, what you would like us to talk about next. Let us know in personal message or in comments. We are very open. And also, if you're going through something in your life right now that you feel like we can be supportive, and if you want to have a chat with us or ask any questions, we are here for you. And before I let Zuzka say her goodbyes, I just finish with a quote, because I want to say, in terms of time, as the one I like, the real problem of leisure time is how to keep others from using that yours. So be aware of where you spend time, how you're choosing and who you're choosing to spend the time with, and be aware also who is using your time but is really not exactly in line with what you want or
Yeah.
prefer.
That's a good one. I like that one when I read it. It's like, oh, that's a nice one. Really good.
Wow.
Yeah. So thank you for having me again. I'm glad I'm back after a while. So yeah, you closed it off nicely. So I'm just gonna say thank you and have a good weekend and see you next time.
Thank you, guys. See you next time. Have a great weekend, Susie. Thanks.
And bye.
Bye.